Rush. Hello, welcome. I just wanted to test the audio. I noticed that I had it off. So hey everybody, welcome to ZBrush Live and Kermaco Mech Design. And once again, before we get going here, if you guys can let me know if you can hear me okay, that would be awesome. If you can just holler in the chat. I know there's about maybe at least 3 services, if not more, connected, and there's a bunch of you watching. So if you are seeing this and you can hear me, you can see my ATST over here, then just let me know in the chat and we can continue. I'll wait a few minutes for you to have the time to do it. I think there might be a little bit of a delay, so it'll be a fun tea break for me. All right, I still can't see anybody chiming in. If anybody is seeing this and hearing me okay, please let me know. That would be awesome. And we're just gonna do a few things here. Right, still not getting anything from the chat. Oh, here we go. We have somebody from Twitch. All right, good. So I guess you can hear me properly on Twitch. If we can have somebody on YouTube chime in as well, that would be awesome. Thank you for letting me know. And welcome to the stream. So basically, just to catch everybody up, what we're doing is we're, you know, in kind of anticipation of the May the 4th or Star Wars Day. I'm doing an ATST, which if you don't know what that is, it's this thing. And let me make this more of a palatable size over here. I've got different screens with different sizes, so when something comes in from the other side, it kind of messes up. So I usually sometimes do, and I will get my reference into ZBrush, but I also have PureRef on the side and do a little bit of the work on PureRef. So we're making kind of a newer generation of this one. This is the original Star Wars one. This was the way it looked in the prequels. So as it developed, it became this, and as it developed further, it became this. So I just wanted to show that I do have a plastic model of this. I don't know if you guys can see it. This was made by my son a while back. Here we go. And it's always good to kind of have a physical model, if you can, of anything that you're making, because it just kind of gives you more of a handle on things. For example, one of the things that might not be very obvious from the orthos here. So if you look at the orthographic images, specifically this one, what will not be obvious is that if you look at the legs over here, and if I can get this lined up, and just a little bit more, so you can see that there's this extra kind of thing inside here that you would not know about, and that's really critical for this thing to kind of maneuver. So here I'm opening it up a little bit more, right? So this thing right here is not a very noticeable thing, and yet it is very critical for this thing to be able to stand and walk. So if you're interested in this kit, it's made by Namco Bandai, and I have the box over here. Looks something like this, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. Looks something like this, and I think you're getting the reflections of the screen on it. But basically, it's like a $20–30. It's the oh, by the way, thank you, same person on YouTube. That's awesome. Yeah, so yeah, my son made a good job of building the thing, and here's some pictures of it. And even here, you can barely see those that leg I was talking about. So it's always good to kind of have a physical object of something. If you have it, it always helps in addition to your reference photos. So yeah, we're going to be going off of that model a little bit, but we're also not going to be making an existing thing. We're going to be going even further in the Star Wars days, further than the First Order or whatever. Maybe there's a new thing that pops up. Who knows? They probably made another clone of a bad guy that's going to come back at some point. But yeah, this is kind of what we are working on. So one of the things I want to do here is go ahead and just 1 second. I just need to do something real quick. I'm going to bring the promo up, which basically, by the way, this is the same image as what we saw before, which is basically the cover of the box. This is what it kind of looks like, and I believe those are pretty well made models. And Bandai Namco does a really good job of making these replicas, and they're fun to build, and the size is not too big either, so it's not going to take up a lot of space. But yeah, let me just go ahead and load in one more thing here, which is the reference I'm going to be using. And that's always good to have just in the background here. So let me just pop that in to Spotlight. Way too big here, which is kind of a good thing. You always want it to be bigger and not smaller. So there's that. Let's adjust its transparency a bit and just kind of have this on the side over here. I'm just going to be focusing a little bit more on the front part of the mech. So, I mean the side, I'm sorry, the legs a little bit. And so, yeah. All right. So this is more or less lining up with this. I'm trying to get the centers of these spheres to be the same. So let's just create a camera there. Okay, I guess it won't do it if perspective isn't on. All right, well, we'll just do it with timeline, which is my preferred way of doing it anyway. So timeline, show, and let's just pop a thing there for it. Okay. Now, I did do a little bit of work on this since last time. I didn't really get as much time as I wanted to, but I did manage to do a few things. So one of the things that I did is I brought in a couple of pilots, which are, where are the pilots? Did I not? I guess this is nice. Is this the, did I put them under legs? No. That's okay if I haven't, because or no, they're here. I think they're in this one. Nope, not in this one. Let's see, where are they? This is the main one, and let me get rid of this thing. I don't need it. It's okay. And there's this one that's kind of the more all combined one, which I don't really need. I'm going to delete that one too for now. And go back to here. I guess I don't have it. Let me just do this real quick. N is a really good key to bring up. It shows you all the different pieces that I have. And I guess not. So I think I have it in Lightbox somewhere. Let me go to quick save here, and here they are. So what I need to do is I'm just going to go ahead and load this in. And so I have the pilots, which are over here. And then this is kind of basically it. This is just a driver that I got from ScanStore or 3D ScanStore. And here I've just dynameshed it. And then here I've got two of them in here. So I'm just going to copy this. And then I'm just going to load tools from project and load my latest and greatest. There it is. And then just paste the pilots here. I thought I already did that, but I guess not. Okay, so the pilots are inside here, and if I want to see them, I can turn transparency on. So this is kind of where the pilots go inside of the thing. And I think maybe they're a bit too big here. I'm just going to resize them. Right now, I'm not really worried about the scale that much, as more than I'm worried about just kind of overall look and feel. So this is where the pilots sit. They get out from the thing from the top, which I have a thing for. And then this back part here is an engine. And there's one more part here that's not showing up. Not that one, but there's, I think, one more piece that is hidden. Maybe not. No, yeah, it is hidden. It's up here, I think. So I'll talk about the other things that I also added. So I'm just going to go in here and add all the different pieces that I have. Yeah, so I do have the legs here, and we also have this kind of top part, which I still haven't decided if that's just going to be like maybe some sort of astro droid or some other kind of droid. But basically, I have the legs here on the side, but what I thought is I want to work on the legs symmetrically. And even though ZBrush added a new capability to have symmetry wherever you are, I still kind of like to work on kind of a symmetrical piece in the middle here, and then we'll move it to its locations on the side. So the other thing that I did is I just kind of created this on the inside, just kind of in the middle. So ATST's middle leg here. And so the next thing I'm going to do here is, these are all in a folder, by the way. So I can just go in here and just start building up the legs. So you can kind of see I've brought in these very simple low-res pieces that look like this. Right, and I've got a bunch of these. It's just the same piece over and over again in different sizes. And these just basically are establishing pieces for the side. And I don't know if I think I started on doing something here like so, but I guess I can just continue it in a bit. And then I've got one of those over here, and I've got another one pointing this way. So here, this one doesn't need to be that long. Again, it's not really that important at this point, but I don't want it to intersect this circle if I can help it. So I'm just going to bring this one back a bit. Right, and so I'm just going to focus on building one of the legs first. And again, I don't have to be exactly the same as what they have in the previous episode. So again, I'm using this model right here as a reference. So I'm looking at the leg kind of and how it works over here, and just trying to kind of create something a bit similar, but not as you know, not a one-for-one kind of copy, but a bit of a different one, different way of doing it. Okay, so all right, and I don't really need these top parts that I just brought up a little while ago, but I just thought it would be a good idea to bring them just to kind of have. I think I'm going to keep this one here for now, and I don't need the top hatch. I don't really need the drivers or this side thing, so I think the drivers can stay there for a minute. And at some point, you know, maybe I'll, you know, if I'm going to open the windows, I'll have some helmets and stuff for them that I can maybe find online, or, you know, maybe somebody has modeled it, can give it to me. I don't know if they're available, maybe as kit bash parts, but yeah, I can just find it. All right, so this is the inner one. I'm just going to line it up so these two are lined like this. And then this thing over here does not extend. So this piece is more like a placeholder. So I'm just going to move it over. Oops. I'm going to move it over to the builders because I don't really need to have it. And builders is just a folder that I keep just that has pieces in it. And if I put something in there, I can just hide and show them and use those pieces later on. Okay, so there's that piece just coming in like that. And there's this one that goes on the inside. Okay, great. And then on the bottom here, this piece kind of swivels as well. This is its hinge point. So I'm just going to take one of these guys. And I could get these with these holes on both sides. But the reason I don't do that is because sometimes they're not aligned. Like you see, this one's not exactly aligned with this one. So for this piece, the circle part is actually in the middle, right? So I have to figure out a way to have this work. So I'm just going to take that and duplicate it. Okay, and then just rotate it down. So I just basically have my cursor here, rotate it down this way until I get the angle that this thing is facing in. And again, I don't really need to, this is going to be in the middle too, so I'll adjust it in a minute. But I can bring this in a little bit. And that actually has a circle thing in the end of it, so I'm actually going to bring this way in to maybe about there. And then I'm going to do a thing where I extrude these parts out on the other side. Now these are dynamically subdivided, right? So they're pretty simple geometry. So it'd be really easy for me to just select a few polygons here. So, oh, and I don't need two of these, I just need one. So I'm just going to turn off symmetry and select one of them. Symmetry still on. Where are you? Okay, here we are. Okay, yep, it is. Turn it off. And I just want to make sure my menus are all showing. Okay, I'll just, I'm going to do one of these guys real quick if you don't mind. Preferences, config, restore, custom UI, just to get my UI back. And then I'm just going to select this one and delete hidden and center this one. So I'm going to move this over to here and then center this in the world. Yes. Okay, so now if I turn this back on, it's not going to be where it's supposed to be, but that's okay, I can move it. But I know it is centered in the X direction. So there it is on the inside, and that's good, more or less. And now I just need to make this part longer. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Again, duplicate and then move the duplicate. Right, so I want to place the gizmo here in the center, so I'm just going to do this, which places it I think I don't have ghost mode on, that's why it's not snapping. Okay, nope, didn't want to select that piece. Select this one. I'm going to turn transparent off for a minute. Choose this piece that's in here. I think this is obstructing it, so I'm going to, for a minute here, hide it. And this is the piece I want. And here is its duplicate. So what? Okay. Here's a duplicate. I'm going to solo it for a minute. And I'm going to place the gizmo in its center. So if I do this, now the gizmo is in its center, more or less, right? So I just want to check, maybe a little bit over this way. And I don't know why it's not exactly putting it in its center. Let me try this one more time. So somehow something is more to the left than to the right. I think this one maybe moved a little bit, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And what I'm going to do with this one is just rotate it around like this and move it down this way. And this is going to be the place where it attaches to the leg. So it goes in about there. And I don't know if I need it to be this big. I can make it smaller. Right, and again, it's just one of those things where you want, you know, a little bit of overlap over there, and then you can kind of put in the leg in a bit. So that's good, and that's good. But with this one, we had to move a little bit of it over. So here I'm just going to use the Alt key to select these polygons. I think these are the ones that need to move. Nope. Not those four, but these ones. Are these them? All right, let me just solo this out so I can see it better. Yep, these are them. So now what I will do here is just Q-mesh these up just a little bit, and then one more time. Oops. So I'll have to do Polygroup Island here. A little bit further up, and then I'm going to mask this polygroup. Mask, Polygroup Island, and invert the mask, and then just use the gizmo to move this thing up this way. And again, just to move this back. Did I get rid of the timeline somehow? I did. Show, I think it should still be there though. No, I guess when I loaded in my interface, that disappeared. Not a problem, but I think this is still here. Yep, it is. Off. There it is, so I can just redo it. Not a big deal at all. So just move this over to here, and then move this. Yep, the alignment is pretty good. So here's where I just drop one of these guys and get rid of that. Okay, so, the only reason why I wanted to do this was, now that I moved that, move it back, is I just wanted to make sure that this is long enough. Yeah, it's good. The angle of this whole thing is really off, so I'm going to turn it just a little bit more this way just to match what was there before. And again, I don't really need to do this, but it might be a good idea too. And then I just need to bring this back over this way as well. So a lot of times these things look like they're straight, but they're not. They have a little bit of curvature to them, and me dividing this thing up into two does the job. And then for the top of this, I need to make it flush so it's not like that. So I'm just going to do the same thing, do that, and I got to align the gizmo with it. And the length was good. I guess I could just Q-mesh it. Q-mesh. Polygroup Island. Where are you? Nope, not edge, but face. Polygon actions, Q-mesh, Polygroup Island, and then this will kind of straighten up that top part, which is what I want to do. Also, I don't want it to be this wide, so I'm just going to put the gizmo right here. And again, it has the right angle. I think maybe not. Just get the right angle first. Just need to get 2 points here that are on that axis. So I think this and this will do. And then this way, if I just do one of these guys, it'll put it there. And just fix that. Here we go. But the angle is still not right. So I think I'm pretty close to having this do exactly what I want, which is this. Move it over and shrink it in size a bit, like that, and like this as well. Oops, let me put the center. There we go. This is kind of not aligned, but easy enough to align it. All right. Okay, so this just kind of gives me a good reference of what that is. Now the whole thing needs to move so it aligns with this piece. And there's enough room for this part right here to go through this one area. And I'm going to make it a little bit wider. All right. Again, none of this is going to be, doesn't need to be very precise. It's just a concept piece, so I just need to focus on that. And this is going to be a little bit thicker, I think, is kind of what I would prefer. And then maybe make these ones a little bit thinner, like so. It's always good to make the center thing a little bit thicker than the two on the outside, just because to balance out the kind of the mechanics of it. Okay, and then move this over here. Okay. Would it help to isolate the polygroup of the inner cylinder? I don't think it matters. I mean, I think the best way, if you want to center the pivot on the cylinder itself, on the center of this, the best way to do it is, first of all, get the plane, which basically I'm just choosing 2 points on this plane. And then if I press center here, I know, and that's partially why I have the leg in the center. I know that this is going to be in the center of the object, right? So then all I need to do is just move it down. Right, and just kind of use the, if I want it to actually be at this type of angle, I can do this and then move this over to here, and then do the thing where I just center it this way, and then here we go, do that, and then do this, and now I got it right exactly in the center. Well, maybe not this way, but I can just move it in to here. But also, you know, another thing that I could do is, if I really want this to be precise, in this case I don't really care, but if I really wanted it to be precise, I'd just close this hole and I'd get a pivot in the center and just do it based on that. Another way to do it also would be to just kind of go this way, like, right, go this way. Not over here, but like start with this point over here and then go to, it helps if this thing is not in dynamic subdiv mode, so I can actually see where I am, right? So just click here and then move the gizmo to another point. This might help if I add an edge loop here. Right, so there's the gizmo. Click here, and why is it not catching this point? Is it masked? Nope. All right, so now I've got this line going, right? And now I just move this to here. So I've got that angle going, then I just move this down just so that this is aligned, and now it is where I need it to be, except I just need to move it to the center. But yeah, closing this up and putting a cylinder there would work as well. Okay, or just putting a cylinder in, you know, afterwards and doing it that way. I mean, here's another way to do it. I can just QMesh polygroup island. So if I do this, this will close it. So that gets me point in the center. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is I do this, hold control and do that, right? So that basically just creates a cylinder inside. And I can close this up and then basically use the center point of it. So there's different, there's different ways of doing it. If you want to be precise, there's ways, but here, this is plenty good enough for what I needed to do. All right, so I've got this piece kind of highlighted. Now all I need to do is start kind of dressing these pieces up with other pieces on top that will make it work better. So, all right, let's go back to the polygons that I had. So there was this one over here. I don't know where it went. Okay, yep. So I can just use this. It is where it needs to be. I can just use this to kind of be the piece that, and again, it's always a good idea with these guys to just be like that and also centered on it. Right, so it's easy to do to center the gizmo on one of these pieces and then just bring this into where it is in between the two cylinders or the two holes, and then just figure out where it goes this way, make it wider. Right, and this is going to be that leg piece. I'm just looking at it. It's actually just a straight, complete straight piece like that. So I'm going to try and keep this part wide and then just have it taper this way. And I don't mind that this thing is a kind of, well, maybe I do. Let's see if I can get it so it doesn't intersect with that one piece. That's good enough right there. And then with this inside piece, I'm going to QMesh flat island and just pop that up just a little bit like so, and then just choose that thing that I just added. Okay, and put the gizmo right there and make this just a little bit more tapered this way. Turn transparency on, see how much I'm tapering it. I don't want to go too much, but just a little bit like that. And then go back to this piece. Size it this way. I think I'm still got a piece of it masked. There we go. All right, and then maybe lift this piece up a bit. This is a nifty trick. So if I just want to move these points, for example, I'm just going to hold Control down, which is masking, then Alt, then Spacebar, and just move that over to here. And that's the only point now that I can manipulate. So I just want to manipulate that point just down a little bit like that. And that's perfect. And I'm going to do the same exact thing over here now for this point. Move that in. Like so. And that's going to be kind of the leg piece over here. And then let's do the foot, and the foot is kind of a pretty easy thing to do. So I'm just going to select this piece. I'm not going to keep this piece. I guess I could keep it. It doesn't matter, but I need to bring in another piece to go in here. So I'm just going to insert one of these guys, and I'm going to load my brush into it. So there is my brush right there. And again, this brush is something you can get on my Gumroad, and I should just give you a pointer to it if anybody wants it. So basically this is just a brush that has a bunch of primitives in it. It looks something like this. And there's a pro version and a regular version of it. And so if you go to my Instagram, right? So Instagram.com/Kermaco, Kermaco, which you can get to from my webpage as well. So if you just go to Kermaco.com, go to the bottom, you can go to my Instagram here. And in my Instagram, if you click on the link tree, it gives you my Gumroad. And if you go to my Gumroad, you can download. There's a free version, which is this one right here. And then there's a version that has 36 brushes. So it has, I think, about maybe 11 more brushes or 9 more brushes. I don't know. Well, yeah, 9 more brushes. Well, no. Let's see. So, yeah, 9 brushes. That would be that it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nope, more than that. 12, 13. I guess it has more brushes than that. So anyway, I'm not kind of in the math mode right now. But yeah, you can get this one for $5, or you can get this one for $0. And yeah, so you can just either get either one of these, and basically if you load it in ZBrush, they come up over in here this way. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a sphere. So I'm just going to make it into a sphere. So if you go to move mode, which is W on the part that you're on, which is the star. Oh, no, I guess I was on the drivers and not the star. Get back to the star. No! All right, let's see if it quick saves. That's not fun. But luckily I'm working in low res, and that's another good reason to be working in low res. So I'm just, the quick save was pretty fast. I should be able to recover exactly from where it was. All right, ZBrush is telling me it had a crash, no problem. And then here we go, I'm back. And where is the recovered ZPR? There it is. I don't want to save these changes. And we're back to where we were. As soon as this is done. What is going on? Some really weird stuff. I think I loaded something else. Let's do this one more time. Quick save, this one. And then recovered ZPR. I don't think this is it. Let's try just this one. And was it that one that we wanted? Oh, no, this is something completely different that I was working on, which is really strange. Yeah, this was, what was it? I think these were some models that I purchased. Okay, sorry, I'll get back to it in a minute. So it's none of these guys. I guess we didn't save. Let's try the latest. Covered 3, 14, 13, 14. Maybe it's this one. Yep. Well, is it? No. Shoot, did we lose all that work? Sucks if we did. But not a big deal. I always find that the second time you do it with more focus. Okay, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess this is the latest one we have. And then the recover tool is not it. Okay, if this is what we have, this is what we have. We got to just do the best with it. All right. Damn, it's almost like we didn't do anything. How much time did we spend? About half an hour. Not a problem. Actually, let me try something here. I'm going to check something real quick. I'm going to see if it did recover it somewhere else, because this happens sometimes. All right, program files. I think it puts it under. I should have it going under D, but it might not be there. All right, so I do have a ZZZ file here, which I don't know what that means. And then there's a recovered 428. That's now okay. I do have a recovered Z tool, which is this one. All right, and yeah, I think let me just start ZBrush from scratch. Sorry for this, but it does happen every once in a while. And I wasn't really doing anything kind of suspect either when it crashed, but I'm still kind of configuring things in this new machine. Okay, so let's go to quick save. Okay, so it says recover tool, this one, okay, should be what we had, but I don't see any. I'm on the tool. Does it have any subtools? No. Okay, so this is not it. So it just recovered one kind of thing. It didn't recover the whole thing. Okay. And then there is a 3114 is the last one saved, which is the one we looked at, and that's not going to help. But then there is a ZZZ file that I don't know what that means. I'm just going to call it a ZTL and see if for some reason if this works. Doing some live kludge work here. Yeah, no. I guess it tried to save it, but it didn't, which kind of sucks, but I guess that's what we have to deal with. All right, no problem. We'll just go back to here, and we'll just do some of those things over again. But maybe, you know, I'll do those things off screen. Let me just work on another piece because I don't want to spend the streaming time doing the same thing all over again. So, okay. Yeah, I don't, it should recover properly is right. Yeah, I know, I could do it faster without explaining. That's correct. I do have several versions of ZBrush installed, but I know for a fact that it tried to save it, but it didn't. All right, we're back on track. Maybe I'll just work on this top part and just deal with it that way. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to do the windows for it. So I'm just going to go in and load up that reference file that I have to figure out where those windows are, more or less. There it is, and let's pop that into our there. Okay, and that's good. And then here, I'm just going to move this over, try and line it up. Like that, and maybe not have it be so. Just need to placeholder for it. And move this over. Notice here this is not aligning, but I wonder if it will align better if perspective is on, but perspective has a little bit of parallax. So if, I think that's good enough. All right, so I just need to turn perspective off here and just figure out about where those windows would be, which seems like it would be in these two blocks over here. So I'm going to add an edge loop this way, and I think I can get away with moving these ones, so I'm just going to slide these up like so, and slide these over a little bit and slide these in. So I think I have the windows over here. hide that, and this is where the windows are going to be. So I'm going to just delete these polygons. So I'll go here, delete, boom, right? So I've got the windows, but I don't really want to delete them. Actually, what I want to do is have copies of them. So I'm going to QMesh, single polygon. I'm going to QMesh these out, hold Control, so that basically creates the windows for me, right? So I'm just going to do one, and then add a little bit of thickness, so that's the windows. And then what I want to do here is just separate those out. So do this like that. Oops. Actually, I could just do split to similar parts. I think that'll do it. Okay, and so now I have the windows in a separate subtool, and then here's this part. Now I can just go in and delete these like that. Okay, and one thing I should do before I delete it is I want to inset these polygons first. So inset, just bring them in like that, and then delete the inside part. And the reason why I did that is because I just want an edge loop around here, just in case I need it later, and then bring these in. And I'm going to do the same thing with the inset. Inset these on both sides. Excuse me, like so. All right. Okay, so we have this piece and this piece. The windows are there, and I can move the windows back a bit. And I'm just going to pop the gizmo in here and just move them back. And then we can open them and do other stuff with them, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Okay, so let's go back to this other larger piece here and start figuring out a way to make it look good. All right. All right. The person that's in Europe, you can watch this after the fact. It'll be recorded. Yeah. You know, good point about, you know, it's always good to kind of hit this quick save every now and again. I'm just going to do it right now because I just did some work I don't want to lose. And then if I press D on this, it's going to really kind of make it wonky, but I'm going to try and do dynamic subdiv with it and try and do the beveling and see if I get something better. So I'm going to do a Q grid of maybe 2 like that. And then let's just kind of move the coverage. And I want a chamfer, not a bevel. And turn polyframe off and see what I'm getting. I don't want it to be too kind of. This is good. I'm just going to keep it for a minute. And I want to do something before I do that action. I want to create these these windows. I want them to go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edge, Extrude, and Edge Loop Complete, and just extrude these edges inward. I don't know what is going on with this. I'm going to click on double so I can see. I think it is doing what I need it to do. Actually see it from the inside. That's good. So let me do this again. And with this, with the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to extrude edge. Oh, yeah, edge face. Let me just do a regular extrude here, edge loop. And what I want to do is I want to do perpendicular angle. So it just goes in this way. That's good. And then from the inside, I want to do the same thing. And I'll show you why I'm doing this in a minute. It'll make sense. Is I want it to that's weird. Okay, let's try this one more time. Edge. Okay, it's going in perpendicular. Right, it's all good. And I want to do one more, but do it from the inside. And the way I do that is just go inside the model, turn double on. Okay, so this is the edge that's going in. And I don't know why it's not happening exactly symmetrically, but it's happening correctly on this side. So I'm going to turn symmetry off and just fix it here, and then just mirror and weld the thing over. All right, come on. All right, so that's just basically creating a little lip there for me. And then the reason why I'm doing that is because if I go to dynamic subdiv, this kind of does a cleaner window shape. And I can even take this a step further if I want these angles to be sharp, which I do, and is go and crease these edges. So crease, edge, that one, that one. I think I went and did some other piece, but that's okay. Here, and lastly here. And now I want to replicate all this work to the other side, which somehow did not really happen, but it's easy enough to do. I'll just mirror and weld this thing, and now I have the exact same thing that I need on both sides. Press D, so now I get a little bit of a sharper angle over here. Maybe I want to crease these as well. Let's see what we get. It's easier to crease things when you're not in dynamic subdiv mode. So again, I'm going to mirror and weld. So I get the creases on both sides. Okay, so that's looking exactly the way I want it to, more or less. This is still giving me a little bit too much of an angle over here. So I wonder if I crease the inside angle, if that's going to make a difference. I'm trying to nab this edge. It's kind of hard to do again in dynamic subdiv mode. So, come on. All right. No, I don't think that's going to make a difference. I think this is good enough for here. I mean, if I really wanted it to be that way, I could also crease these. I'm going to make it so it doesn't do anything for faces. It doesn't just keep insetting stuff. There's that. Mirror and weld. Okay, so now these are both creased. So yeah, now that's giving me kind of more of a more sturdy looking angle. And lastly, I think if I just crease these guys, I'll get even a tighter inside angle. Yeah, a little bit better. All right. So again, I'm just going to mirror and weld. So both of them look the same, and I think that's good for the windows. That looks pretty solid. And I kind of like the way this overall looks over here. I'm going to do something strange is happening over here. I think this is where I inadvertently did a crease that I didn't want to. So I'm going to do an alt uncrease of that, right? No, it's doing the same thing on this side too. I don't know why. Because these edges aren't creased. I think if I add a edge loop in here, it'll fix it. So Q1, insert. Let's add an edge loop here just to kind of hold this together. And again, mirror and weld. Puts it on the other side. D. Let's see if that anomaly went away. It did over here, so we just need to do the same thing over here, and that's just one edge loop that I can do right there. Possibly one more. Oops. Oh, I think it needs one this way. That's what is causing it. So we'll do this. Again, mirror and weld. And let's see if this did it. I still have this weird kind of geometry thing happening over here. I mean, I can always figure out a way to hide it, but let's see what is causing it exactly. So if I turn constant on, it's still there. And if I move that coverage a little bit further in. Yeah, I don't know what's causing this. I'm going to isolate it to find out. Looks like I've got creases over there, but not on top. So it should be fine. I think it's just a matter of adding another edge loop down here. I think that did do it. That makes it a little bit better. Maybe one more. Over up here. Yep. Okay. I think that did it right there. So that's good. And I think overall I'm liking how this is looking. And so what I'm going to do here is see if there is anything I can get over here as well. There is a part that's kind of protruding outwards, and if I look at the reference here, there's two different versions of it. So let me bring my reference over so you guys can see. So we're looking at this part right here. So in the old one, it's just a simple kind of plate, which makes sense, something that will stop kind of blasters and bullets coming in. This one is a little bit more sophisticated, and the window in this one's a little bit different too. So I guess I can take my freedoms into designing something else there, which I will do. Design with AK, yeah. ZBrush is good for hard surface, definitely. As you can see, I'm working on something hard surface here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what kind of a good thing to do here would be. So let's say what I want is a plate that goes all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert one more edge loop over here, just so I'm balancing this thing out. So I'm kind of doing manual subdivision here. I'm just adding some edge loops just so I have room to select things. And the way I want to do this is I'm going to add one more here. Loop over here, mirror, mirror, and weld, so it's on both sides, and I'm going to add one more down here. All right, so I can take some freedoms with these windows if I want to, but I kind of like the old way better. I like these kind of windows a little bit better because it kind of gives this more of a face of a look than the newer ones. So maybe they tried the newer way and didn't work too well, and they went back to the old one. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select, and I'm just going to do the polygrouping way of doing this. And I'm going to turn on symmetry and just select and create a new polygroup over here. That's going to be the blast kind of metal piece that's going to come out. Okay, so selecting these like that. Now I'm kind of using the topologies kind of guiding this, which is not really ideal, but I can make it work. And I want the ones on mine to just go this way. I'm going to insert one more edge loop over here just to kind of balance this out, and select these guys like so. And then I just will slide these points to get some kind of nice angle over here. That looks good. And maybe see if I can take these out a little bit more. And I have to slide points, so I can just kind of slide these this way and see if I can get something interesting looking like that. I think that's looking good. Let's see if I can raise this up, if it will help with the design. Maybe about this much, and then here, let's see if I can move this to get something more interesting. I think that aligned there is fine. Maybe move this down this way. Okay, so this is good. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an extrusion just on this new polygroup that I created. So I'm going to go to QMesh, and I'm going to pull polygroup island, and I'm going to pull this whole thing out. So I kind of want to pull it out like this, but maybe I want it to be a separate piece. I'll try it that way, which will be easier to manipulate. So there's that. And I'll QMesh this whole thing out this way, like so. And what I want is I want this angle on the outside to have a deeper bevel on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split this into its own parts. So split to parts. Yep. So now this is its own thing, and I want to just work on that. So the first thing I'm going to do here is push it in, right? So it kind of is going in that way. And the other thing I want to do is I want to add a bevel around all these edges on the outside. And I'm going to do the beveling a little bit differently this time. I'm just going to go to bevel. Let me try if this works, see what this looks like. Bevel edge loop complete, and see if this gives me something compelling. I think this is not bad. Turn polyframe off to see what I'm getting here. All right, so I'm getting some funky stuff going on here and here, so that's not going to work. All right, so I'm going to use another method of doing it. I'm going to turn dynamic off, and I'm going to let's see what this. I'm just going to do manual beveling, see if that works any better. No. Okay. All right, then I'm going to do this other method that I have, which is basically just creasing all these edges. So crease, edge loop complete. Let me see if this works better. Okay, and then in the crease menu, there is beveling options, and let's see if that gives me a better bevel. Right, under geometry, crease, bevel width. Not much better, but I know how I can fix that. So I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to undo the creasing and just inset this whole thing, which is what I should have done before I pulled it out. Let's see if I can do that first. So let me go back in here, and I'm going to choose this polygroup that I have over here and just inset that polygroup island and just do this kind of an inset like that. And that basically will give me this edge loop that I can use to do my inset. Now this also introduced a bunch of different triangles here that I don't want. So I'm going to try and do this with the legacy way of their inset. See, yeah, see, this works much better for me this way. All right, and so now I've got this edge loop going in this way, and there, that'll do it. And then I just want to slide a few points around. Turn this creasing off for now, do nothing, and then just let's get these points. Oops. Don't want another inset, I just want to move these points in. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of manual retouching, but again, it's not that big of a deal. All right, so now I'm just going to polygroup. Polygroup island, take that one and that one, make them the same polygroup. There we go. And now I'll just Q mesh this whole thing out, and I'll have that border. Q mesh, polygroup. Oh, no, not an edge, but here we go. Face. Q mesh, polygroup island, and pop that out. Hold Control so it just separates it out, and then just give it a little bit of thickness. Q mesh, polygroup island. There it is. Okay, so now I've got the exact same thing I had before. However, I've got a loop that goes around it, which will make things easier for me. All right, there's that. Oh, I need to separate these out. So split two parts. Go into this one, make it a little bit thicker, but on its own axis. Well, actually, it's fine the way it is. I'll just Q mesh it one more time. That way I get this inner loop, which is something I would need, maybe, and do that. And then I can just at this point select or mask this flat island. Invert the mask and then just scale this in a bit, and that gives me that nice little bevel action over here on the outside but not on the inside. So I just need to move my gizmo to over here and do the resizing this way, move it up and move it out. All right, and I'm liking that a lot. So let's see what it looks like. There it is. It looks pretty good. And if I go to dynamic subdiv, like right off the bat, it looks good too. I kind of would want these to be a little bit further out, so I can do that. That's why it's good to have it as a separate piece. So I'm just going to select these pieces and move them out. This way. Just get it a little bit more centered there. And then slide these points. All right, so there's different ways of doing this. I'm going to use one way here, which is using the move. And so if you click on here, oops, not move, but transpose, if you click on here, it puts the gizmo on it and you can just move it over. So that kind of creates this. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to this point. Right there. And where is my gizmo? Put it on the point and then just move that into place. Maybe to there, and then we have one more, which is this point right here, and I just want to move that in this way. All right, let's see what that looks like in the full scheme of things, and that looks good too. And then I'm just going to move these points down. Last but not least, this one. All right, the only thing I don't like is just this one point over here, which is easy fix as well. And for that, I'm just going to move this one. Nope. This inner point out. There. All right, so that creates that piece in the front. And yeah, it's good that I pulled it out as its own separate thing, because I can do little few adjustments to it without, you know, messing with the geometry that's underneath. Okay, like that. I'm going to take this back. I think I messed with it a little bit too much. I'm going to do another tactic here with it that might work a little bit better. All right, there we go. Okay, that's fine. And what I'm going to do here is solo, and let's turn polyframe on. Okay. So what I want to do is I just want to take this. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. QMesh, poly loop, and let's see if this works. There we go. think that created an extra edge. And then if I push this in, I should get a little bit of a bevel like that. That's kind of cool. Let's see what it looks like with the whole thing. It's a bit big, so let's make it a bit smaller. All right, that's kind of exactly what I want. Perfect. And the other thing I want to do also is pull this thing out a bit. So there's that lip, right, on the side a little bit. And then if I dynamically subdiv this, I get some rounded edges, which are nice. And last thing is I'm just going to move these out just a bit. All right, so that basically adds some kind of character to this, and then I can put some other pieces on top of it. So that's good right there. And I'm going to see if the geometry allows me to do something interesting here with maybe something like that, maybe. I'm just looking for ways of enhancing this. Okay, Q-mesh a single poly. Sometimes the geometry helps, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it'll help if I turn polyframe on. All right, what if we do this? That actually looked okay. However, I'm going to slide these points around and see if I can get something more interesting. Let's see how that looks. It's kind of a Star Warsy design. Maybe. Nope. I need more kind of what if we just did this? Oh. I think maybe we should just kind of leave this for now. I've been spending too much time on this one piece. I mean, it is kind of a very iconic area, so I do definitely need to have an impact with it, but I'm taking some freedom here with smoothing and sculpting to see if I get something interesting. I don't. So I'm just going to go back. To a time where I think it was fine, which I think this is good right here. All right, so I'm going to do a quick save here. Excuse me. And continue on. Sean, you said you're finally home on a Friday night. Yeah, initially I was kind of thinking about, is Friday night a good night to do this? And I think I figured that it would be a night that I could, it was a good night because my work week would be over. And it's a good way to unwind. Definitely can't do Saturday night. All right, this, move this up. I'm just trying to get a more kind of there. Okay, so that's done, and then I'm looking to see what else I can do in the front that would be compelling. I can add one kind of cut line over here just to kind of differentiate that. So again, I'm just going to go to insert here. Ooh, looks too much like a face. That's funny. All right, I'm just going to insert an edge loop like there. And what I'm trying to do here is seeing if I can put a cut line. I think straight looked better. All right, and then just Q-mesh these. There, that looks good. I think when I moved these, it created a funky warp in the geometry, but that's easily fixed. I think that's good. All right, so I'm good with that, and then I'm just going to start thinking about like what else could we do to this front part. So this thing isn't really like a battle. I mean, even though it does fire and everything, it's mostly a scout, so it actually is going to be looking for stuff. So it definitely wants to be protected, but it doesn't want to, you know, it's not like a gunship of sorts. And I'm just hitting this thing a little bit with smooth just to get something a little bit smoother. And let's see if I press this in, if it makes more sense. Nope. All right, I'm going to try a couple of tricks here to see if I can get something interesting. If not, I'm just going to go back to what I had before. And a lot of times I do, you know, depending on how much time I have, sometimes I do, you know, try to do some, you know, like I'm trying clay polish here, which is totally not working. And I'm going to go back to when I made these, the change up here, and just to not do it. All right, here we go. I think that works. I just want to put that line back in. That was working. Now here, you know, the line isn't going to be straight. If I want it to be straight, I'll just use the cut, where is it? Clip or slice curve right there. And that'll put a couple of straight lines in here. 1 and 2. It'll give me a couple of polygroups too. And I just want to embed these in Q-mesh, same amount, just to kind of get that separation. And that looks good. Okay. So I think the front, for the most part, is done. Another thing I want to do is maybe add one of these things up here too. So I'm just going to go back to here, and I'm going to polygroup. I think with this maybe I might be able to get away with, no, I'll just do it separately. So I'm going to do a polygroup, single poly, this one. Maybe something like this, and maybe this goes all the way around. So I'm going to polygroup, poly loop, goes all the way around on the outside, and I'm just going to Q-mesh this out. Island. Just a little bit like that. Let's see what that looks like. No, it looks too much like a lid. That's not going to work. So I'm just going to go back to my initial idea, which is just to Q-mesh this part out. Let me inset it first. And then Q-mesh it outwards, hold shift just to kind of get that bit of ledge kind of looking thing over there. Dynamic subdiv. And that's kind of good. I don't know if I want it to go all the way across though, so I'm going to undo and go back to polygrouping and just do these guys like that. And maybe slide just these points over here forward, so I have something more like straight. Oops. And there's a way to get this to be exactly aligned with this one, but I just eyeballed it and it works. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and then maybe have this one come in. And I want this to be straight too. Because the more things you do like that, the more it'll look like you're adding facial features, which I don't want to do. I just wanted kind of this one little area over here. Inset first, and then Q-mesh out. Just a little bit this way, like that. See what that looks like. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Now let's see what we can do on the side here. Doesn't look like there's much going on the side, but I want to do some things here, just make it better. I'm going to make this Q-mesh with single poly. I want to get this out a bit. Oops. Like so. And I want to pop that into here this way. Yep, there we go. So that way if things are fired at it, it just deflects them on the side, and just kind of link that up. Nope, leave it this way, and maybe link it up to the top. Let's see what that creates. Go back to this. Yep, that works. Just maybe a little bit of finessing here, just a tiny bit. Here we go. That looks good. And kind of want to do something here. It's doing that weird thing on the bottom, so I need to fix this. Maybe by getting thing going this way. Solo this and get the back, and just have this continue to here. There, actually that worked out pretty good. Maybe not so much. Okay, I think I need to add another edge loop over here this way. Here we go. There, that did it. Further out. And can I slide this edge? I just want it to be parallel with the, there we go, a little bit more. There, perfect. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. It's looking okay. And see what other kind of features are there on here. So there's kind of a cover that goes around this way, and I can do that again, probably the way I've been doing it. So I'm just going to add an edge loop, insert an edge loop going this direction, like so. And maybe one this way. I'm going to slide this point, And again, here I'm just looking for features on the geometry that I can use to make the thing that I want. And then I'm just going to, for this, I'm just going to use the Alt key just to select all these. And by the way, you don't have to keep clicking. You can paint with this. So you can just kind of go like that. Right, and I want to basically have this be an extrusion as well. That goes this way. Does that look better? Let me see. Nope. All right, that's looking pretty good, kind of Star Warsy. And then I kind of want to do something with this corner here. So what I'm going to do is add some edge loops. And I want this corner to kind of come out. Like this. Yeah, that's looking good. And then just this is kind of good the way it is that way. So yeah, this is starting to look pretty good. Now, one thing that's funky over here, oh, this didn't come all the way out. Here we go. Okay, that's good. And then maybe add a couple of edge loops this way. There. All right, so that's kind of making it look good that way, and then maybe these carry forward this way as well. Okay, that's good. And then I kind of like what I did here. I want to do it over on this, in this area. So I'm just going to add an edge loop. That's pretty cool. And I want to knock this one down. Clip curve. So that basically just adds these top parts here. I don't know. They're not even, so it's not working for me. All right, let me just figure out a better way to do this. Okay, that's good. And then maybe just, yeah, here we go. That did it. And I just need to figure out how to fix this little kink over here. All right, I think. This will do it maybe. See what that looks like. It's good, but then it added these weird parts over here, which I don't know why it did that. Oh, I know why. Okay, that's fine. Probably. There. in keeping up with this, I want to break this top part here down too. But for this, I think I'm going to pull a piece out. So let me just get back to the polyframes here. Yep. And I just want something here, but I don't know if I'm liking what's there. I'm just going to select these points. Like that. Maybe, I think that's enough. And I'm going to pull this out but hold control because I just want it to be a separate thing. And I'll just make it really big because I'm just going to press it down and then QMesh island like that. And then I'm going to separate this out. So again, this is a separate piece that I just made. So split to similar parts will do it. Split to similar parts. There it is. Subtool. There's that. Okay. And I'm just going to push these in. So they're their own pieces. It's getting there. And I want to see if I can do some things with it. Again, this is all really low poly geometry, so you can easily make any changes to it as you go along. So I'm just making some changes to this to make it be that way, and then maybe make some changes from the top. Now this is kind of a tricky thing because if you do the clipping this way, it's going to give you an issue. So I'm just going to use this handy dandy method of doing it, which is going this way. That didn't work. Maybe go at it from another angle. Close, but no cigar. I don't need that right now. By the way, another easy way to do this is you just go to, I don't know if I'm going to get the angle on this. I might not be doing it right. Let me try it one more time. Okay, I'll do this side. So this is kind of what we want. So I'm coming in this way. Nope. All right, so a good way to fix this is you just get one side, delete hidden, and then do the changes you need, just this and this. Like that, and then just mirror and weld it to the other side, and here we go, we got what we need. Okay, so there's that, and then this one is a bit too wide, so I'm just going to make it a little bit less. Just go from here to here and make it smaller. Right, that's good. And then let's kind of work on that. So there's on the top, let me bring this over so you guys can see it. Right here. So the way they have this one is they have this metal bar, which will kind of do something similar to that, but then there's the hatch. So let's do the hatch first. See what they have a better hatch in this one. Nope. But what they have in this one, which is kind of interesting, is they have windows over here, which the people aren't actually supposed to be in here. This is machinery back here, but I don't know. I mean, I could probably look at the schematics of it, but they look. It looks like they have cameras or guns or something over here, which is kind of interesting. I might do something similar, but for now, let's bring in the hatch, which is just this top part right here. I think no, this is the guns. I'll leave that on too. Where are you, hatch? I think it's this one right so here's my hatch. So let's get this lined up. So getting the gizmo to line up with this is really easy. It's actually ideal. You just, and again, this is one of my primitives. That's a cylinder. So I'm just going to click on W for move, and then just click here. And basically all you need to do is click here and this other point, and this is aligned. And now I just want to get this aligned with the top. So in the actual thing, it's the hatch actually is aligned with the top of this. So that's what I will do as well. Wait, there's some people saying stuff. Let me I could make some IOM parts for it, but that's fine. You know, and it's good the way it's working right now. This man. Okay, I don't know what Voxel Forge is saying. We need AI rigged software. Okay, I don't know what that would be, but sure, why not? Okay, so here I'm going to work on this top part over here, and the way I'm going to do that is solo it out. For this, I'm going to turn on symmetry, and I'm going to turn on radial symmetry, and I'm also going to divide this once. All right, and with radial symmetry on and on Y, let's get a radial of 8. I don't know why it's going all over this way. Something is off. Okay, so we've got radial symmetry, radial count A. All right, and maybe it needs to be local sim, and maybe dynamic. Here we go. This is what I want, and I'm going to delete the lower subdivision of this thing. Delete lower. So now I've got something a little bit more geometry, and then I'm just going to go and choose still kind of not exactly what I need it to be. Turn local symmetry off. This might be something I need to bring to their attention, because does this thing have anything hidden? Okay, so nothing is hidden. This thing is symmetric, and see here. So I'm going to turn local symmetry off, and then that's going to put, that is so strange. Okay. All right, then we'll have to do this without radial symmetry. We'll have to do it with, I mean, the way to do this probably easier, which is what I'm going to do, is just go here, center this, and then turn radial symmetry off for now. And I'm just going to replace this part with a new one that is not at an angle. See if that solves the problem. So I'm just going to go to my parts here, go to the cylinders, and choose the cylinder that's more like it, which is this one. And this is going to be our hatch. I don't need to be that wide. Bring this to the center. So now this thing is centered, and I'm just going to rotate it this way, and then I think we'll be golden. All right, then activate symmetry, Y, okay. again. I think this is not in the center of the world. We'll put it in the center of the world, and now we're good. Okay, so now what I want to do here is go to QMesh, a single poly, and that should work. Yep. Okay, so this is what we wanted to do this whole time. And what we're going to do is just select some polygons like this ones, these ones. So this is doing it 8 of them around, which is fine. And then I'm going to extrude these out like so. And then do these guys, same thing. Actually, let's see if this works. Nope. I guess I could mask this. Mask, polygroup island. Bam. Invert the mask. Put the gizmo right there. Here we go. I'm just going to get a kind of a gear-like shape here, and I want these to be going inwards. That's odd. I don't think this is in the angle I want it to be. I want it to be at this angle. All right, here we go, and then bring it in. Right, so that's kind of creating this type of shape, and then I'm going to move that down to here and scrunch these down and pull them down this way. So that kind of creates this type of, you know, area where the hatch attaches. And they have something similar to that, maybe not as thick, but that's fine. And then see what that looks like subdivided. That's good. And I want these to be creased as well, so crease. And by the way, all this stuff that I'm doing is happening radially, so I just need to do one of these, and then the rest of it will work out fine. Excuse me. Right, getting that, and getting the kind of shapes that I want. Perfect. Okay, so there is the top part of the hatch. Now, you know, I'm not going to open it, so it's going to be closed. So let me create the inside part. So I'm going to insert an edge loop here, and I don't need symmetry at this point. I'm just going to insert an edge loop as to the outside part of the hatch, and then another one on the inside part of the hatch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and QMesh polyloop this in. I guess it would help if I crease these, so crease, edge loop complete, 1 and 2, and then just push this in like so. See what that looks like with that polyframe. I think that's good enough. And then this part over here is going to be coming out, and my cat wants to visit. I think if I uncrease these, it might be better. Yep. And for that, I'm going to turn on radial symmetry again. Here she comes. Okay, I don't need creases on. I'm going to crease just an edge. I need a crease there, don't need one there. And what's cool is it's just doing it around, and I don't know if I need one here, and I don't know if I need one there. So again, I just need to do to one of them, and it's happening everywhere. Radial symmetry is a lifesaver. Okay, so let's see, do I need one? over here. No, that actually makes it better. And this one too while I'm at it. All right, cool. So that's good. And then what I want to do here is I just want to polygroup this whole thing. And I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm just going to polygroup, polyloop. Today's been a very ZModeler centric thing, but it's ZModeler is just perfect for this kind of stuff. And I guess this fill doesn't work radially or symmetrically, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do here is just do a polygroup fill, and that will just fill this one area. And I'm going to turn symmetry off for a minute. So do this. I don't know why it's going within the creases. That's strange. I didn't know the creases were a border, but it's not a big deal. It just will take a little bit longer to do it. Turn crease off here, do nothing. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, stop at creased edges. I guess that's on. Pass through creased edges. That'll do it faster. Here we go. Okay, I didn't know that was a setting. Good to know. Okay, so now that I've got this, I'm just going to go ahead and QMesh, polygroup, island, and pull this off as the top part, like so. And then for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mesh project. So let me separate it out first. So split 2 parts, and then let's pick that top part right here. Right, so I'm just basically working on this part right there. I'm just going to move it down, and then I'm just going to use project primitive. I guess I could solo it. And I'm going to push a sphere up into this, but I don't want the topology to be messed up like that. I want it to use the existing topology, so I think there's one of these cones will do that for me. No. Primitive type. Nope. Nope, it's not this one. Maybe it's this one right here. Tessellate. Yep, I don't want any tessellation, and I just want to pull this thing, make it bigger. Of course, there's different ways of doing this. I'm kind of doing this just because I wanted to try it, and just trying to get like that hatch shape. Then scrunch this down. And again, I'm just doing this with a very low poly geometry, so bear with me. And they have it kind of like this, but not as rounded, maybe like that. And that works for me right there. And then I'm just going to QMesh this thing, just so I get a little bit of a lip to it. And that will be the lid of the hatch. So there's the hatch, there's the lid. Let's just hide everything else. All right, something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and wonder what if I have QGrid on this, if it will make it look interesting at all. No, it makes it polygonal. That's good. I think I'm just going to apply this to it and see what I got. And then I'm just going to, it's got some really harsh edges over here that I want to remove. And I think I can just do it with deformation and polish. There we go. That did exactly what I needed it to do. So there's the top of the hatch. And then there are some other things on here. I don't know if you guys can see it. There are some other doohickeys on the hatch, which I can easily do. So let's do all that. back into here and insert some edge loops over here, like so. And then I'm going to Q-mesh this poly loop. Upwards just to get a little bit of a lip over here. And maybe let's see what happens if I do this. Maybe from the other side. Okay, that's good. And then let's push this up again. And let's see if I can dig in. Nope. That's good. And what I want to do is, let me see what the poly grouping is, and then just push this in like that. And that just kind of creates a little bit of an interesting kind of place for the light to catch and everything. And then let's bring up the lid again. Yeah, see, that kind of looks better. And then the hinge. Now, I don't remember. Yeah, it opens in the back. So I need to put up a thing in the back here for it. And I do have some hinges and things as insert mesh brushes, so I can bring those in. But let me also see if I can do some other interesting things here. Q-mesh poly loop. Nope, that's not looking good. Poly. No, okay. All right, I think this is kind of what we're going to have to agree with for the base of it. And then I will add the hinges, and I'm going to do all the kind of, maybe I'll do it next time. I thought I would end this today, but I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. All right, so let's bring everything back. All right, so now I'm just going to hide the two legs here. I don't need them, and I don't need these for right now. And what I'm going to do is just move that hatch into place. So again, I'm going to turn on the pizza boxes and just select that piece. One more piece it's selecting that I don't want it to. Here we go. I think that's all. Yep. Okay, and that's just still bringing that one piece with it. Approach this from another angle. Here we go. All right, and then just move that into where it's supposed to go, which is about here. And angled this way. So what I want to do here is I want to have a version of it that's this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and say, where is it? This is home stage for that part. And I'm going to set a home stage for this one as well. Okay, and then when I move these now down and over, now they will have a target stage. And if I ever want to do more radial stuff or make some changes to it or whatnot, I can do it then. I think this is still a bit too big. Make it smaller. right, I'm just going to look on my model to see where this top part is. Okay, so it's more towards the back is where they get out. And I've kind of got this interesting little lip, so I'm going to try and doing something that kind of will add a cooler feature to it in a minute. What is this part right here? Oh, that's builders. We don't need to see any of the builders. Let's move off of the builders. Okay. All right, so this is kind of where the hatch is going to go. And what I'm going to do here is do something else to this part. So I'm just going to solo it. Not that one, but this part right here. And what I'm going to do is select the bottom part, and I should be able to do that with mask, flat island, invert that mask, and push that whole part down like this. Okay, and that kind of creates this back part. Let's see what it looks like. So yeah, the hatch looks more like this, which is kind of cool. And that also gives me the capability to add something interesting over here. All right, let's see. I've got a bunch of people typing stuff. Okay. Groucho marks. Okay. Not sure. I guess if you know who Groucho Marx is, that's a good thing. All right. Why is this piece not showing up? There it is. There's the top of that. So this is already looking a little bit different, and I'm going to hide this top part, which I kind of added as an interesting thing, but it's looking a little bit more different this way, but it's looking okay. And we are pretty much close to getting to the end of time here. And I'd like to stay and work on this a little bit longer, but I actually have a thing I need to do, so I need to stop at 9. But like I said, I will continue to work on this. It's kind of coming along nicely, so I'll continue to work on it more. I will do the leg part that I did in the beginning that I had a crash with off camera, so I'll have that for you next time. And I might do a little bit more work, but we're getting pretty close to being done with this. We just have to pose it and put in some kit bash parts for the hinges and whatnot. So I think I'm just going to leave it here for now. Let me just do a quick save. And thank you all for tuning in. And make sure you tune in on the 4th. They're doing a Maxon or ZBrush folks are doing a stream. And in the stream, they are going to have people from people that actually work on the Star Wars properties show you how they use ZBrush. So that should be fun. And so don't miss that on May 4th. And I will be on again in a couple of weeks on Friday again, same time, same hour. Okay, so thanks again for sticking with me on this. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you for watching. Happy ZBrushing,